you want to start cutting dovetails. Okay, well they go out and tell you, oh well, you'll need to go out and buy a dovetail guide before you can even do anything. You don't need to go out and buy one. You can make your own. And I'm going to make not just one, but a set of 3 from this single strip of timber, which is 3/4 of an inch by 1 1/4 inches, which is roughly 30 millimeters by about 18 millimeters, and it's just over a foot long, or just over 300 millimeters long. That's all you need. And I've also got here a plan. I'm going to put this plan on the screen. In fact, I'll put it on screen and I'll pause it for just a moment so you can take a look at it. And then I'll show you how we go about making dovetail guides for free, and then we can look at how we use them as well. Okay. Right, the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to mark it out in metric. But for my American friends, on the plan you'll also notice there's all the Imperial measurements, so you'll be fine with that. Series of marks at 35 millimeters, oops, a bit scrappy, 25, and again at 35 millimeters. I'm going to leave a 5 millimeter gap. I think it says on the plan 6 millimeters, but it doesn't really matter. And then we want a further 35 again, 25, and another 35. 5 millimeter gap, and do it one more time. So 35 there, and 25, and the last one 35. There we go. So I've got all my marks now across there. That is my face edge. So I'm going to bring all these marks across. Like so. I'm just marking it in pencil for the time being. And there we go. Right, so that bit of eventually will be waste on each end. That will be waste, and that big bit on the end will be waste. Now then, we've also got 3 angles to deal with. Well, for that, we do a little bit of geometry, but don't panic, it's quite simple. In order to get our angles, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a set square. I'm going to set it to 9 inches. I'm going to place it on there. I'm going to draw a 9-inch long line, put a little mark on the top there. In fact, I'll go all the way across. And then from there, and the reason I'm using inches for this is simply that the numbers are a lot simpler. And I'm going to do the same for, that's for 7. And I also want it for 5. Your board's overhanging the bench and you're not registering the bench. Draw another one. Now then, each of these I want to mark 1 inch from that line. So I'm going to mark 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. That's going to give me 1 in 9. That's going to give me 1 in 7. And that one is going to give me 1 in 5. And all we do is take a ruler. We go from the very bottom of that line to there. Draw a line. We then go to the next one, draw another line. And then to the last one, to there. We've now got 3 angles, 1 in 5, 1 in 7, and 1 in 9. And all you need then is an adjustable set square, and you can set that, and there is my 1 in 5. So we take our piece of wood, and let's say we'll mark these out in order. So we'll say that's the 1 that's the 1 in 5, that's the 1 in 7, and that's the 1 in 9, just so we don't get confused. So what I want to do on each of these, and mark it from your face edge, is I'm going to set that on there, and I'm going to mark 1 in 5, and that 1 in 5 is the line we're going to work to. I'm going to do the same for 1 in 7, like so, and the same for 1 in 9. There we go. Now what I'm going to do with each of these lines is now I'm going to square it down like so. Do that all the way along. Just carry on and mark every one of them like so. And you need to do that all the way around. Right, I've marked up all the lines all the way around, apart from the angled ones. So this one, for example, at 1 in 5, I've squared it down each side, but on the reverse, I'm going to use a knife. I'm going to put a little mark in there, and a little mark in there. And I'm going to use a ruler. And you could also use your adjustable set square. I'm going to put a knife wall in there, because each one of these angles is different. So for example, on this one, the 1 in 7, it's not square across, it's from that point there to that point there. So I'll use my scalpel again into those little nicks in the corners. And do that for each one. I've already penciled this one in, but we'll knife it in now. You need to also knife in all of these as well. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll move on to the next step. All we need to do now is we're going to remove some of this timber, but before we do, we need to gauge down each side. I'm going to use a mortise gauge, working from my face side. If you don't have a mortise gauge, you can use an ordinary gauge, providing you've got a piece of timber that is parallel. You can mark one line on that side, flip it round and mark the line on that side. It's entirely up to you which way you want to go with that one. I'm going to mark 2 gauge lines all the way down there. And I'm not worried about them being deep. It will make it quite a lot easier. And if you want to clean up afterwards, you can always plane the marks away. There we go. So we've got 2 lines there, all the way down. I'll put a pencil in there to make it easier for you to see. So we're going to remove that and that, that and that, that and that on both sides. So that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I've written on here already our 1 in 5, our 1 in 7, and our 1 in 9. Do that because you get confused otherwise. Now, how do you go about removing this timber? Well, basically, it's just a lap joint. So we've got our marks. I'm going to pop it into the vise. If you don't have a vise, you could literally clamp it down on the workbench and just use a G-clamp. I'll start with this one. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. Right, so I'm going to create a little knife wall there. I'm going to create a knife wall on this side as well. There we go. And just so if you're interested, this one happens to be a piece of elm. but any hardwood would do. And then all I'm going to do is put my thumb up against there, nice and gently. And cut down. We're only cutting down a few millimeters. And again there. And you'll see why in a minute, why I'm actually going to keep those two little bits of timber. There we go. And now it's just a case of removing this timber. It's entirely up to you how you go about that. You can literally just use a chisel into there like that. Now elm is quite a tough timber, so I am going to use a chisel for that, because, sorry, a mallet I mean, because you really do bash your hands. And I'm going to get right into the groove. I'm literally just tapping upwards. There we go. I'm just working about halfway to 3/4 of the way across. And just carry on along like that. This grain is quite swirly in this particular timber, but it will make a nice set of gauges when I've done. I'm going to do that for each of them. Once I've got all the bulk of the timber out, just raise that up a little bit. What we can do is, if you followed me when I was making these little router planes, these are ideal for removing the excess, like so. And this is an opportunity where it's perfect for this. I mean, you may well have your own router, which is great, and we can remove the timber like so. I'll carry on doing that. But you could also use a table saw if you wanted to remove the bulk of that. Or you could actually use a power router if you wanted to work your way through each of these. That's entirely up to you. But basically we've just got to remove the waste from each side here and then back on the other side. So that's one side actually done now. I've just got to flip it over and do the same on the other side. Right, and finally on to the last one. Just remove this bit. Remove that bit in the middle. Right, well we've cut them all. What we now need to do is separate each one out. I have actually penciled on here which one's which. 1 in 5, 1 in 7, 1 in 9. So what I'm going to do is just use a bench hook to separate each one of these out. You could do it on the chop saw if you wanted to. It doesn't, it doesn't actually have to be a bench hook. Remove the waste, and then for each of these, oops, there we go. the very last one. I'm going to put a little bit of scrap under this one because this one will rock about otherwise. And there we go. We now have, to remove all the rubbish, a set of 3. We can clean up the ends. We could do that in a number of ways. We could shoot them, or we can sand them. Doesn't really matter. We don't actually use the ends. We only use this surface here and this shoulder here for all our marking out. We can also put finish on them if you want. This one I've got here, I think I put shellac on that. I don't even know how many years ago, just to keep the worst of the dirt off it. That's entirely up to you. But now we have a set of 3 dovetail guides, and next week I'm actually going to show you exactly how to use these guides, how to mark out your dovetails, because I've been asked quite a lot about the spacing of them and how do you do that, and how do you use dividers, etc. So next week we'll get into that detail. All right, until then, I'm Dave. I'm the SKINT Woodworker. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, take care now. Bye-bye.